Hey guys, welcome to South Carolina and welcome to the refreshed BMW iX. In this video, we're going to talk about the changes that happen with the iX, of course, when it comes to the exterior design, interior design, specs, range, power, and all of that. But before we go into all of these details, let me tell you my story with the BMW iX. I've had one for about 9 months, so I've spent quite a lot of time with the iX. I've learned a lot about the car, and I absolutely love the iX. But there were a few things that kind of bother me. So I've been asking BMW for many years if they could fix this, and apparently they have. So in this video, I'm going to point those out as well. And then at some point, I'm going to bring the product manager for the BMW iX, and she's going to tell us about all the updates, not just on this car, but also across the entire lineup, because there are quite a few. But first up, this is the BMW iX 60. There is a new model in the lineup. It goes from 50 to 60, and then 60 to 70, and then 40 to 45. We'll talk about all of that. But design-wise, M Sport package, of course, as you can see here, it is different than what you see on the iX today, and that starts with the lower bumper right there. You can see more aggressive. It's got this nice split in there like on the M5. So in a way, BMW is trying to unify the design across the entire lineup, and you see that on the bottom as well. Of course, if you look on the sides, this area has changed quite a bit as well from the previous M Sport Pro package. You have these air intakes right there as well. And of course, all these sensors that you need for all the level 2+ functions and parking and distance and all of that. If you look at the kidney grille, this is new as well. You have this, I guess, vertical lines right now in the kidneys, and they continue in the headlights as well, so you will see them in there too. Of course, if you get the iX-M70, which you might be able to show you photos of the car, we don't have it here today, you will get the horizontal slats, something that we kind of previewed in our renderings, Photoshops before, so really no surprise there. But overall, this is a completely new front fascia. It looks like a brand new car, really, especially because you can customize all of these things in different colors. I believe you have 3 different colors, but we can talk about this with the product manager as well. Another major change on the car is the fact that it's losing the laser lights. So as you can see right here, we have the adaptive headlights right there. No more laser lights, of course, something that we've expected because we've seen it in other BMW models as well. Of course, there is a base headlight as well, which you're losing the cornering light, so it looks a little bit different, but overall, that's the new design of the car. You have these 2 vertical slats right there, and knowing BMW design, then they tend to make everything kind of fit together, having this synergy across the entire front end, and you can see all these lines being kind of similar. So you have this line right there, of course you have the split headlights right there, and then in between there, and then of course the kidney grille. So all this symmetry that BMW likes to achieve with their lines, you see it at the front end. Another major addition to the BMW iX, it's the illuminated kidney grille. Once again, really no surprise, we've seen this across many new BMWs, and once again, they're trying to bring everything together to kind of have the same design language, and this is why you're getting the illuminated kidney grille. Unfortunately, you can't see it here, but hopefully we have enough B-roll to show the car at nighttime, so maybe you will be able to see this. So from the front end, really no other changes, yet they're quite significant, and honestly, it refreshes the car quite a bit. It makes the kidney grille a little bit more attractive, in my opinion, and especially when you see the horizontal slats right there, that's going to make the car a lot more aggressive, especially on the iX-M70. That's the only car that gets these kidneys, of course, just like on the iX-M60 that's going out. The iX that I've had for a few months was actually painted in Pythonic blue, but that's been replaced by this color, Arctic Race Blue. You've seen it on the new 5 Series as well, the i5 too. And this is one of the 6 new colors available for the iX, but we'll talk about that in a second as well. Side view, of course, nothing has changed on the car. Very rarely BMW changes anything when it comes to a facelift. So exactly the same design as you've seen before. There's been always a question, where does the iX fit in the lineup? Because the name iX doesn't really tell you much as far as the size. It's a conversation I've had in the past with a lot of people from BMW as well. Well, size-wise, it's always been in between an X5 and an X7 if you're wondering about that. Of course, we're going to talk about the interior space as well, because it's a dedicated platform, dedicated EV platform, so that gives you additional interior room. I guess the biggest change on the side is really the addition of new wheels. You have one right here. It's from BMW Individual. It's a 23-inch in size. You can order 23-inch on all the models, 45, 60, or 70. It ranges from 20 inches on the base model. If you get the M Sport package, you're getting 21 and 22 inches. But then there is a 22-inch wheel that's dedicated just for the iX-M70. It gets complicated, but bottom line is you have a lot of options. Of course, you get different brake calipers. You have a blue brake caliper right there. If you get in the M Sport Pro package, you can get the calipers in red. Of course, more options for you. So with that being said, no other changes on the side, really exactly the same design. And then of course, we're gonna go to the back right now and I'm gonna show you some additional design details on there that have changed with this iX facelift. All right, so let's take a look at the rear design of the iX facelift. And of course, the one thing you'll notice immediately is the fact that the taillights have not changed at all. You have the same very slim taillights that wrap around the body. And of course, BMW decided to stick with this because they look quite good, so I don't see the point of changing them anyway. One thing that has changed though, it's the diffuser. You can see a brand new design here. And of course, you have the addition of these vertical lights right there. They used to be integrated right there horizontally. Now they moved them to the side. And of course, that's a design choice mostly because it adds some verticality to the car and also some additional width. So when you see the car from behind on the road, it looks to be a little bit more muscular. So it's just a really nice, neat trick. You're getting a new badge, xDrive 60, once again replacing the xDrive 50. But other than that, really no changes at all. Of course, if you open the trunk, you will see that it's got exactly the same design. Even this has not changed. I complained about this a little bit because I wanted this to be an electric roller like on the X5 or X7 because it's an expensive car, but I guess BMW has not changed that. And then of course you still have your additional space right here if you want to. You got car, charging cable right there, but of course you can store some things in there. But other than that, really no change in the trunk. There are a few changes inside the car and we're going to go in there because these are some of the major changes on the iX facelift and I think the one that will make the most difference to customers. So let's go take a look. All right, so let's talk about the interior design of the BMW iX facelift and I'm going to start with the things that BMW has improved and one of them is definitely the seat. As you recall, in the current BMW iX, the seats were a little bit too short. If you're on the taller side like I am, 6'2", 1.9 meters tall, there was always an issue with the seats being a little bit too short here, and they were also a little bit angled down, so they were not very comfortable over long distances. The second thing that kind of bothered me in the current iX was the fact that there was not enough side bolster support, and as you can see in this seat, there is plenty right now. But let's start with the first thing. The seat, it's about maybe 2 inches longer, maybe 4 or 5 centimeters longer. I don't have a tape measure with me, so I can't tell you exactly, but it's definitely longer and it's a little bit angled up right now. So you're gonna be a little bit more comfortable, even though you're still not able to adjust the length of the seat like in other BMWs. But nonetheless, they do feel a little bit better than before. And I can see right now that they should be quite comfortable over long distances. Plenty of side bolster support, as I mentioned, both right here on the side, but also right there on the bottom. You can see the seats are nice and beefy right there. And then, of course, you can get plenty of different leather options. You can go for Sensatec. I guess there is vegan options. There is something with the cloth right now, similar to Alcantara. But then, of course, you can get the high-end leather as well. There is another upholstery option if you'd like. If you get in the M Sport package, you can also spec the car with a material that's called Dynamica, which is essentially a combination of Sensatec and microfiber. If you spec the car with different leather, or different materials, you're also getting a different type of dashboard, two-tone material from what I was told. Hopefully I can show you that in some photos because we don't have that car right here. So that was one of the biggest changes inside the car, and that's one that I really love because it does make a difference when it comes to comfort. And I always felt like if you're buying the iX M60, which is the sportiest version, the M Performance automobile tuned by M and all of that, you should get some proper sport seats. Of course, if you don't like this type of seats, you can still buy the base seats, the same seats as right now. So those are standard in all the cars. This is an upgraded option, the sport seat. One minor change to me maybe, but maybe major to other people, is the fact that they've changed right here the cutout in the headrest. So before you had this cutout that was a little bit too big. So if you were on the shorter side, you would hit your head in that cutout. It's a little bit smaller right now, and this has been upgraded on both type of seats. So that's a nice touch for people that are on the shorter side of things. Steering wheel, of course, we got this upgrade earlier this year, I believe, with March production. So you have this round shaped steering wheel. If you get the iX with the M Sport Pro package, you're getting the same round steering, but you're getting a 12 o'clock red marker right there, something that we've seen on high-end and performance BMWs as well. The one thing that BMW has not changed, and of course that would have been a little bit more complicated, it's this floating cubby. It's always a little bit awkward to reach things, especially I don't have a coffee mug right now, but getting a coffee mug in and out or that, it's always a little bit cumbersome. And I didn't expect BMW to change this because it's a huge design piece, and something that they don't usually do when it comes to facelift. And then of course the car still comes with the iDrive 8.5, just like the newest iXs. Initially it came with iDrive 8 because it didn't have the proper head unit. Once you got the upgraded head unit, you're able to actually bring the OS to 8.5. That's exactly what you're getting here. The best way to tell that you have 8.5 is really if you go to the home screen, you have this quick select on the left side, and that's how you know that you have 8.5. Of course, there is another trick. If you go to the climate function, and if you turn this on, you will see you have this visual interpretation of the former physical buttons on the screen. So that's another way for you to tell that you have 8.5. Other than that, really no other major changes. Of course, if you look on the doors, you have this new material for the buttons right there. So that's a little bit different than before. One other change, it's with the glass controls. Basically, they have a different color right now. They used to be titanium bronze. Right now they have this more like darker silver color, a little bit different than before. The same thing with the trim on the doors, that has changed a little bit as well. And I guess a fun fact, the shade, it's also a little bit darker right now in the on or off mode, however you want to call it. So that's a minor or major change, however you want to look at it. But other than that, really no other changes inside. Of course, the most exciting changes I would say for a lot of customers has to do with power and range and efficiency and all of that. So to learn more about that, I'm going to bring into the frame Marisa, the product manager for the BMW iX, and she's going to give us all the details for all the BMW iX models. So let's go talk about that. All right, Marisa, so this is your baby, and I'm going to let you explain all the changes, because when it comes to the iX, of course, the design, it's one that matters. It's the first thing that people see, but it's an electric car. So if you're an electric car nerd like I am, you care about the efficiency, the range, power, performance, charging capabilities, and all of that. So let's take them one at a time. First off, let's talk about the model name changes. So I mentioned earlier, 40 to 45, 50 to 60, M60 to M70. So let's start with the base one, 40 to 45. Tell me about the performance there, and also if that car is coming to the US or not.
Yeah. So first of all, this is a new offer for the US. So we finally have an entry model for the US. We have some increase in performance here. Okay. So the new model name is an indication for the performance increase. Okay. So we are now having 300 kilowatt. It's a plus of 60 kilowatt we're having. Torque is now 700 Newton meters, and the iX45 accelerates in 5.1 seconds now.
So before we talk about the efficiency and range, tell me, do you have a new battery pack in this car, or is it the same as before?
It's for the iX45 a new battery package we're having here. Okay. And with that, we have a storage of 96 kilowatt per hour now. Okay. This is a plus of 30%. Okay. And with that, we reach more than 600 kilometers WLTP.
Okay, and on the EPA rating, do you have an estimation on the EPA rating?
Yeah, it's still ongoing, but it's around 280 to 300 miles of EPA.
So essentially we're going to have three cars in the US, 45, 60, and the M70.
Yes.
Okay. Of course, charging is quite important, right? So let's talk about first the charging capability in the iX45. Anything has changed?
Yes, of course. As we are having the bigger high voltage battery in the Expert 45 now, the charging performance has increased from 150 kilowatt to 175.
Okay. Can you speak a little bit more about the charging curve as well? Has that changed too? Maybe you don't have the exact figures, but is it different than in the previous model?
Yeah, we did actually quite a lot for improving the charging time at low temperatures. Okay. So we've optimized the preconditioning of the battery, having a good effect on the charging time when it's cold outside or when the battery is cold. Then we are having the boost heat pump for the iX. So this is another measure we did to improve the DC charging time, especially when it's cold outside.
Gotcha. And of course, since a lot of EV geeks are watching this video, can you speak about some of the technical upgrades that will improve the efficiency of the car?
Yeah. With the iX LCI, we really focused on efficiency measures. Okay. And let me give you some examples. So first of all, we've increased the energy content of all models. Okay. So the Expert 45 now gets, with its bigger battery, 96 of kilowatt per hour. So this is a plus of 30%. Okay. Also, of course, increases the E-range. And for the Expert 60 and M70, we have a slight increase to 110 kilowatt per hour.
Okay, so both those cars get the same battery pack basically with the same net capacity.
Yeah.
Gotcha. So on the iX60, Have you increased the range on the car as well?
Yes, we did. The X-Drive 60 now comes over 700 kilometers WLTP.
Okay.
That's around or more than 330 miles in EPA.
Okay, now let's talk about the charging capability on the iX60. I know there are a lot of technical details, but let's get this out of the way. So has it increased or is it the same as before?
It's the same as before. It's 195 kilowatts.
195 kilowatts. Okay, so when it comes to the iX M70, can you tell me the specs on the car?
So let's talk about the performance
Sure,
of the
okay.
M70. We have an acceleration of 3.8.
Okay.
So it's the same as we're having now. We have 1,100 Newton meters and 485 kilowatt. And this is new now.
Gotcha. Same battery pack you said before as the iX60. And so what's the range on the M70, considering best case scenario with the best tires and all of that?
Yeah, I know. You know that with the M70 we focus on performance.
Okay.
So the E-range is also more than 600 kilometers WLTP.
Okay.
And in EPA range is also more than 300 of miles.
Gotcha. Charging capability?
195 kilometers.
So same as before.
Same as before.
Have you done any technical updates to the car to improve the overall efficiency? Because I know with electric cars, every little bit matters. So maybe there's some new things.
Yeah. We've set the focus on a good package of efficiency measures.
Okay.
For example, we've increased the energy content of all models. We have a new inverter technology
For the e-motors.
for the e-models, yeah, that increases the drive power density and efficiency when transmitting energy from the battery to the
To the motor.
e-motors.
Okay,
yes.
so the transfer is actually more efficient.
Yeah, that is more
when it
efficient,
comes to
right.
power.
Yeah,
Got it.
that's
Okay.
it. Then we have label A+ tires.
So the rolling resistance.
It's improved
Okay.
with a good effect on E-range, of course.
I've heard this from someone else earlier today that you've improved also the efficiency of the headlights.
Yes, we actually did. So with the new adaptive LED headlights, we're having a good effect on E-range as well.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And I think from what we've talked off camera a little bit, I guess the biggest efficiency improvement really came from this new inverter in the e-motor, essentially around 4%, which is huge, coming from just a single component.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So final question, I guess there are 6 new different colors. So I want to talk about that because I'm fascinated about colors on all the new BMWs. I've already talked about this Arctic Race Blue.
Yeah.
We've seen it on the 5 Series. Any other additions?
Yes, we are having 6 new colors for the iX, and I'm very happy about that. We have next to the Arctic Race Metallic a June Gray,
Okay.
Carbon Black, then the M Sports package, Hansanite Blue, a silver, Space Silver Metallic, and we have a Frozen Deep Gray.
Okay, so 6 new colors available, and you can order them on any model, or they're specific to certain trims?
They are specific to certain trims or models actually.
Okay.
So as mentioned, the M as a Carbon Black is
For
part of
the-
the M Sports package. And the Frozen Deep Gray, for example, is only for the MSP and M Sports package and MPA.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it.
Gotcha. So there was one thing inside that I didn't mention. There is an additional upholstery offered in the car. So I mentioned the leather, different type of leathers, I guess. And then of
Yeah.
course you have that dynamic combination, which is microfiber and Sensatec. But I believe you mentioned one more off camera and I totally forgot about it. So I'm going to let you mention that.
Yes, we have as base offer our Sensatec in 3 different colors. So this is the same offer we are
Sure.
currently having. And our interior wood loft, which is a mixture of Sensatec and a wool fabric.
Gotcha. Something more softer like you see in the 7 Series, for
Yes.
example, that material.
Yes, a bit.
A combination of wool and cashmere, but not cashmere really. Perfect. Well, Marisa, thank you so much for all the details.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Guys, thanks for watching. As always, stay tuned and we'll see you in the next one.